G'day, listeners. This episode is proudly brought to you by our sponsors, supshq.com.au. Use BWB15 at checkout to receive 15% off and direct shipping.
Welcome back to another episode of Bros with Brains, here with co-host Benjamin Button Mayfield Smith. How are you, sir?
Mate, I'm all right. If I said good, no one will believe me. But no, I'm actually, all things considered, I'm in a very reflective mindset of late, and just really trying to take it all in. And as I keep saying to you, and I've said to a few clients and stuff, like, you got to bear with me for the next few weeks and kind of get through it. But 3 years of work is coming to a conclusion, which is fucking cool. And it's just, at this point now, every day is just ticking over the boxes and being smart, being sensible, being structured, and getting things done, and then putting my feet up and relaxing. But it's I'm pretty good. Hit a prep low this morning of 87.9, so that was good. And at this point, we're just really ticking over and taking it all in, enjoying it, and feeling the suffering, and knowing that it's all the standard pains and things we're supposed to go through, and it means we're on point. So get flat to lose fat.
Yeah, I still want to put that on a bumper sticker or something.
Yeah, it's a shirt.
On a t-shirt. Yeah, get flat to lose fat.
Yeah. It's a t-shirt.
Yeah.
So that we are, by the time this has been recorded, we're 9.5 days out actually. So from the first one, it's not obviously the be all end all. It's the first one. Both myself and Tom pretty excited. Both of us are obviously in self-doubt phase where people are telling us it's all good and we're saying shut up. That's just how preps work. But so we got 9 days. So we'll get photos to you on Friday morning, assess a fill up phase, make some calls over the weekend, and then plan out the peak. Got to fill up with the tan chick and all that sort of stuff. Make sure that's all sorted and locked in, and we've got Tom going through a bit of a dig out, just a final dig out, just to flatten out a little bit. Gave him a good week. I think it was really good for him. Gave him a week off. Not week off. Gave him higher food, time off dieting. Gave him a refeed weekend just to chill out. And I think it's been really good for his physique. And then it's a little bit more of a dig out this week. Free meal on the weekend, and then time to load him up Tuesday through to Thursday. So
it's going to be fun.
Not much to be done from here.
No, that's it for this one. And then a little bit of a pull off between states and nats, and we're good. Yeah.
So run his physique, run both my physique and his physique by a few well-respected people, and getting all the right criticisms and feedbacks that we need, and it's all just where it needs to be. Just at this point now, it's just putting food. Like, I'm trying to hit posing after every meal, or at least 3 meals of the day, and just making sure, like, seeing how it looks with each carb up and each load and each bit of food. It's just sweet. I'm finding it hard to be less productive. Like, for me to do less is fucking hard. Because I also take a lot of responsibility, obviously, and burden my shoulders with the business and clients and making sure that they're looked after. So that, to me, like, I know I already give a lot, and then feeling like I'm giving them less, I'm like, oh fuck.
So I get you. It's like when you go back to giving them what they genuinely sort of pay for, like that minimum, you're like, I feel bad, but it's like, well, that's what they're paying for. So I've been giving them a lot more than what they do pay for.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I get it.
Yeah, at this point, it's like, oh, this is really all they actually need.
Well, it's like you're prepaying them in service. So for when you're good, you're giving them all the extra, so that when you do prep, well, remember that time I gave you all that extra, so now it balances out.
Exactly. And they're like, to their credit, like, a lot of them have been very, especially the ones who've been with me for a good while now. They're all been very accommodating, conscious of it, flexible where they need to, and when adjustments come and stuff like that, like, just bearing with my dumb waiting, or like if I've just forgot to send something. Uploaded a client's program for him to start this week, and I had in his program like prehab 1, and then prehab 1 I have is basically like a priming prehabilitation routine as a separate training sheet. I forgot to upload that. So it's like, it says prehab 1. He gets to the gym. He's like, bro, what's prehab 1? Is that like prescribed? And I was like,
I've got nothing.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I've
got that somewhere else. Hang on. There you go.
So, like, it's an easy
besides that, they've been pretty accommodating, understanding. Like, I preempted them a long time ago as to what the back end starts to look like. And everyone, I made sure had like systemized strategies or plans before it got to this point, so it was no last minute changes or,
of course,
let's randomly do this because I'm tired. But yeah, so overall, yeah, like everything's good. A lot of inquiries and stuff for post comp life and things that books open back up. So
yeah,
I'll be excited there. And
future Ben to deal with.
yeah, it's a future Ben thing. He can. But yeah, so nah. All in all, it's like now it's just really about taking it in and letting it be exciting and letting it be fun. So it's not just like wait till the day to take it all in.
And we got the posing bikini out. We're ready to go.
Posing bikini, you got trunks ordered, we got registrations done. I'm doing provided it arrives on time. It's coming from Melbourne, so it should.
I'll just bring it up.
Just bring it up. I'm gonna do classic first timers, which I'm actually pretty excited for. I always set out a goal that at least once I wanted to do classic because I always like my driving force was always Arnie at the start when I really got going into training. So just having that, ticking that off at least once because as we said before, I'm never making that weight cap again until I retire. Like
of course, the goal is to be so heavy that you can't make that weight cap.
Exactly right. Like 100%. I don't ever want to pull down again to even be in contention for my height cap. So to be next phase, next season that I actually get on stage around the 96, 97 as opposed to 86, 87. So making it while it's there and actually put it into use. And I think I have a bit of a structure to do it. So I think it'll be nice, a few nice shots there that I'll be able to pull off. And even without really, I hadn't planned on making classic, but whilst I'm here, I'm like, well, I already know how to pose. I already know how to do the shots. Like, fuck it, just send it.
100%. Yeah, may as well have some fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll have some fun there, do that. And then I'm just doing under 90s and classic first timers for states. Financially it jumped a lot more than I thought from when I first competed. So to add an extra, like I would have could have done novice or even my division, but it would have been a long day for
exactly right. You would have been it's not worth it. I mean, like we were saying, that the first comp's just to really get this rust out.
Yeah, precisely. Like so for me it's just going to be like nailing down the posing routine, getting the mandatories up there, being a bit more assertive in my posing and actually trying to stand in the middle, take that on and have some fun there, and then really brush it off for natties for nationals. So
natties. Wrong.
We're all natties, right?
100% like the ICN.
But yeah, so that's kind of where it is. It's like at this point now it's just like I'm playing more Sony than I've done in fucking 12 months. I'm watching more movies than I've watched in 12 months. Like
you're gonna start prepping like every season just so you can play Sony and watch movies.
Just actually put my feet up. 9 months of work and then 3 months of prep so I can just put my feet up.
It's like your holiday.
Yeah, exactly. My holiday is prepping.
No, fair. That's gonna be good. It's gonna be some fun.
It's literally like like by this time next week you'll be on your way up.
Thursday.
By the time this airs, a week from when it airs, it'll be all happening. So Thursday you'll be on your way up, and we'll be putting in food. Tom's putting in his food, and fuck, I'm tell you what, envious of that dude's carb up. I was like, bruh, because he's like, I was talking about his refeeding him, like the photos he sent. I'm like, he's still way flat here, and so he's like, oh, flat, you reckon? I was like, mate, we're looking more towards like 3,000 carbs over 3 days for you to fill up, and he's like. Oh, really? I was like, you're very flat here. Like, chill out.
Yeah, we're just gonna put some more carbs in and see what happens.
let's just see. And I'm like, all we have to do is get on stage, so we don't have to worry about whether it's like spilled or not. But like, we're not going to spill. You got a day to digest. I'm like, trust me, we're good.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right. So
just roll with it.
All that hard work where he was like complaining a bit, suffering and being hungry. I'm like, now it means you get to have 3,000 carbs. Enjoy.
Worth it. Eat all the rice.
Worth it.
Yeah, no, fair.
But so that's kind of just where everything is, and where life is at the moment, just chilling. Chilling. It's not chilling, but it is.
Very, very good to hear, my friend.
And how are you, sir?
Man, I am good. I had a great weekend. It was actually sunny for a change for the entire weekend here in Melbourne. And when I say sunny, I mean like high teens, low 20s, no clouds. So I played a ton of golf.
Come home.
I played with Benny Scott on the Saturday morning down here at my club. Yeah, well, that too. And then played with some shafts and then played golf. Tickled some balls and then played golf. Played with him on Saturday. That was a good time. He came down to my club. And then
the old Benny Scott?
He's good. Cruising along, working like a madman, like we all are. Going through it. But played with him on Saturday. Then Sunday went down and played at a really nice course down here. It's called Moon Links. It's like it's one of those things, when you watch like a TV ad or you watch it, when you're watching like ESPN, when you're watching like Fox Sports and they show like highlights of like golf, like in an ad, and you just see these great courses. It was like that. Like you looked out and you're like, oh yeah, this is pretty fucking good.
Not bad. Not
Yeah,
bad.
so I played 18, and then I actually went and played another half, or played another 13 holes at a different course around the corner that day because it was
Mhm.
just sun was too good. It was too nice of a day. I'm just like, yeah, we're gonna get out and play some more. So I played more, which is awesome.
Nice.
Official handicap is 12.6, just for those listening. You know,
I
I've
think
made it.
that's
We're
good.
gonna play live. We're on our way because fuck
Fair.
PGA, live pays more. Um, yeah, that was good. It was good. Regripping all my clubs. I'm excited. These things are mate, we're making waves here. It's definitely not going to help my golf swing, but that's fine.
That's nothing to do with that, but
No, nothing.
it's working.
Needed something thicker in my hands, if you know what I mean. So yeah, we'll see how we go. But short of that, man, it's been pretty good. Busy with work. So I posted that promo video from the
Yeah, very nice. I
powerlifting
liked it.
comp. Yeah, it was really cool. We got Louis.
Yeah.
Shout out to Louis. He I don't know if he listens. I'll make him listen. But he did the compiled all the footage and put it into like a little 1 minute video on my Instagram, which was sick.
Nice.
Came out really nice. And he's messaging me. He's like, "So what sort of music do you want to put on there?" And I'm like, "Man, I listen to hip hop like Kendrick, J. Cole,
Yeah.
Dre, Eminem, like old school hip hop, new school hip hop, some new school, not all new school, but." And he's like, "Man, thank God, because I'm sick of putting rock songs
Oh
and
yeah,
metal
yeah,
songs
yeah,
to powerlifting videos."
yeah.
And he's like, yeah, and then he showed me like he's got like a poster behind him like of Kendrick, one of his album covers. He's got like the
Yes.
big framed picture. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
like any song off that album, go nuts. They all work.
Cool,
He's like,
man.
done. I got you. I'm like, yeah, Matt.
Nice.
They put Kendrick on there. It was mad. It's good. It's a good promo video.
Man, I'm actually excited. Where it's first time, so after 4 years of competing and trying to get this sort of like down pat, first legitimate videographer is going to take the job seriously and actually follow around
Yeah.
the peak week. So he's coming in. I think he's coming in on Sunday for me to review time and sort of put that together, and capture that. And then he'll be here on the Friday, and then I think he'll be here Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Obviously there's limitations on media to go to the show, but he's going to
Yeah, like
capture like good
backstage and
quality
stuff,
phone and
right?
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's super strict now.
Yeah, yeah. That was the
Um,
same with the powerlifting comp. He wasn't allowed like some of those
yeah,
videos that from like the clip. He couldn't be
from his phone.
backstage. He had to take it
Yeah,
from the side, so he could
yeah, right.
see the back room, but he couldn't
Yeah.
go in the back room. So he was able to take footage from there.
Even worse than that is the cameraman in the audience and stuff. You can't even bring a camera in. It's got to be your phone or like, you know, like it'll have to be pulled from a phone recording. So I have to make sure he's got like he said he's got like a very very nice phone, and it'll just be like like put together. But there'll just be a point in time where it goes from like high quality, fucking 8K digital into like iPhone Pro 13.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like it's worth to capture the whole thing and that sort of stuff. But yeah, bit of a disappointment, but is what it is. But
so
yeah,
we'll
like
make it work.
to have that and like what he's gonna give us for it, like shit ton of YouTube content, short reels, training
I
reels.
was gonna say I watched some YouTube channels, man, and they use like literally an iPhone, and the
Dude, even, like
visual is fucking
that's what I said to him. I was
amazing.
like, we had to have that chat about. He's like, oh look, I'm like, look, I dove into this just to make sure, and I found out some answers and stuff. And I'm like, look, some of the pros that I follow and watch their show days and stuff, it literally goes from like backstage or like morning of peak load check in into literally someone's phone on stage
Yeah,
because like the IFBB is very strict about obviously whoever the promoter is has an
of
affiliated
course. Yeah, yeah, of course. The
videographer.
photography and all that
Yeah,
sort of
and I
stuff.
was
Yeah,
like, so fair enough, man. Like
yeah.
don't
That's
sweat.
an
Like no one's gonna
exclusive right or whatever it is
yeah,
there to
no
the
one's gonna
Fed.
pick that up and be like, oh, you got
Yeah,
put to fucking this
100%.
phone for 5 seconds. Like, who cares?
Yeah, and it's not like
Um,
you're not going to support them and buy one or two of the photo stage shots that they produce because you know they're going to be the best ones.
yeah, exactly right. They got to
Yeah.
do something that looks good. But yeah, so yeah, I'm actually excited to have that like that moment there. Like it's taken a long time to find a videographer that actually follows through and delivers. Like I paid one guy and got literally nothing. I
Mhm.
paid some upfront to get some recordings done. It came through as like unedited 1 minute snippets, and I was like,
Yeah, right.
this
It's
is
like
dumb.
trying to find the right person is so tricky, man.
Yeah, especially in
Yeah,
that realm of business. Like I was
yeah,
surprised. I think we've talked about it before, but like that creative business realm is
yeah,
just so flaky with people who are actually either good, passionate, or just like they picked up a camera once and think it's gonna be easy money and just like they should just be handed the job. I'm
yeah.
like, nah, bro. Like this is what we
No,
expect. Like
yeah,
if I have to tell you how to record me training, I'm gonna punch you in the face. I'm
yeah,
not paying.
100%. Well, it's always trying to. It's always easy to try and find someone that's got a bit of experience, right, in like
Yeah.
that particular profession. That's where I was lucky with this kid. He's a powerlifter, so
Oh, he
like
knows.
yeah, so he knows like where to get the videos
Yeah.
from, how to get them, and he's known like kids like the gyms know him because he does all the videoing for a lot of
Yeah.
of the gyms. So he's just like he's got like a free pass everywhere. So it was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Nice. But yeah,
But
so that'd
I
be
mean,
yeah, that's something I'm really really excited about. Just to
yeah,
actually have that and like um just like even worst case scenarios. Like I look back on 20 years time when I'm retired or like finished really competitively bodybuilding. I'm like, this is where it started. Like this
Yeah,
is like I can look back on that and like I did this here at this time. Like this is what went through COVID,
yeah,
progressed through COVID, did these things, came onto my first show afterwards, and this is what we look like. Like, yeah, it's just cool to have. Be a good
yeah,
reflection and
for
something
sure.
to have in hindsight.
Yeah, for sure. So, had a few shows already happen.
Yes, we have
We've got a
actually, but
few more to go.
we do.
What do we have coming up? Well, I guess when this releases, is it New South this weekend coming?
Yeah, so by the day of release,
It'll
New
be New
South will be
South.
up,
Yeah,
and then we will have
Queensland.
Queensland, and
Yeah,
then we'll have WA, and
W,
then
and
we'll have
then
Nationals
Nats. Yeah,
back in
right.
Queensland. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So that's gonna be
yeah.
fun.
So,
So yeah, so
look,
far it's been good. I think the quality's been decent, depending
there's
on I
been a,
guess the category.
yeah, category dependent. There's been some hit and misses that I've seen, but at the same time, like it could be that at this far out, like first show of the season, you still got
Yeah,
4 weeks to go to tighten up. So
yeah.
I'd say a lot of them is just simply getting out and getting qualified.
And yeah, I think that's what it is. And it's funny. I mean, it's an interesting conversation because it's like the difference between bodybuilding and powerlifting here in Australia, for example. To go to nationals in powerlifting, you need to actually put up a qualifying total.
Yeah,
Now, for obviously very strong people, putting up the qualifying total isn't necessarily that hard.
yeah,
But for those that are gunning for a spot, like that could be their biggest total that
yeah,
they've put up. And they obviously have to then try and, progress on that at nationals. But it's funny because with bodybuilding, to qualify, you just need to enter the competition and get on stage.
yeah. Exactly right.
Yeah, which is strange. And it's like, I guess, I mean, we can make that the topic of conversation probably more than anything. I guess, what are your thoughts then on criteria for qualifying for nationals, or is it purely because there's just not that many people doing it, so it's just easy to give everybody an invite to nationals? But then when I think about it, if you've got everybody from every category from every state competing,
Yeah,
that's a
that's
big
where
day.
it is a big day, and it's going to be an exhausting day.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's strange. Like I get it. It kind of makes the quality less, but also means that the cream rises to the top. So I can see both sides, but you're obviously trying to drive up numbers, and obviously, like as a business or a promoter, you want more money to come back into the sport or your show. So having it available for everyone to register for the national event kind of makes it a big deal, and you're going to get a lot more. Like in total, you get a lot of people showing up. Um, but I mean, like I don't know. Like to me, any other sport I've played or something I've been involved in competitively, if you weren't good enough to make it, you just didn't make it, and that's perfectly okay. If you
right.
didn't get to the final series as a rugby league team, or if you didn't get to the grand final as a rugby league team, or a touch team, or a soccer team, like you just didn't make it, and you have to reflect back on that, reassess, come back for off season, and figure out like, okay, in the next season, like who's still on the team, what do we do wrong, what's the other like teams looking like up literally at as young as under 14s, we were doing like post season reviews and like video reviews and stuff like in our schoolboy programs, like we were doing all of that. It was like, okay, this is where we suck. This is what was good. This is what like some of the players were like. This is what our like. This is how you should have been lined here or where you ran here. But yeah, that just came because you didn't make it,
Yeah,
and it's perfectly okay not to make it. But obviously, there's less money driven into the sport than if you're not making it, and all of a sudden there's a cutoff criteria. Like even if it was like, and this is where I think like actual placings could be important. Is like if it's only top 10 of your division, or like if you got like a bikini that's got like 30 females, or and that's just at states, or
yeah, right.
if you've got the a more competitive weight cap division like under 90s, under hundreds, where you've got
Mhm.
like 20 guys on stage, all of them like like do they all qualify? Like
Yeah, you see what I mean? Like
yeah,
the qualifying is interesting, and I can understand from a lack of competitor point of view. So it's just easier to say, okay, well, we want to fill the lineup and make it, as competitive as possible. So let's
yeah,
just fill it.
yeah.
Same time, it's like, well, wouldn't
It's a
you want the
big show though.
best?
That's the part I didn't get. It's the big dance. Like if and don't get me wrong, like I'm not even saying if based on that very criteria for me, I might not even make it. Like
Yeah,
I might like do what if I don't get top 10? Like I've just said set the standard then that I shouldn't go to nationals, but who gives a shit?
yeah.
I'm owning that, but at the same time, like at the same time, if I then did that and wasn't good enough, well then who cares? Because I
Like,
wouldn't
could
be
you
good enough to go to
imagine?
nationals.
Imagine if they did that at like the Olympia. You'd have like hundreds of competitors.
Dude, literally, you have how many pros? Like there's already gonna be like what 25 or 30 pros this
Yeah,
season, and there's still 6 shows to go.
yeah,
Um, and all that like you've got your guys like Jamie the Giant who's just pumping out shows to try and
yeah,
get his points up.
yeah,
Fair enough to him. Like he's trying to win and peak his condition to get a show, but like he's also trying to jack up his points.
yeah,
But like, yeah, for us, it's like because when we have the state show into the pro qualifier at the nationals, it's like, okay, well, what if we I don't know, made it so there was a cutoff criteria, like you had to be at a certain like placing, or
mm,
like because you wouldn't make it only the top three go, because then you have just a small number. But at the same time, it's like there's only two teams that make a grand final.
Yeah, well, and it's only one pro card that gets given out,
Yeah,
right, across all categories.
yeah. There's one pro
One
card per
pro card.
category.
Oh, it is per category. I wasn't sure if it was per category or it was just one pro card, one male, one female.
No. So you'll get everyone will get a pro card. There'll be like your division title, your overall title, and the
Yeah.
overall title each get a pro card.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like some of the shows in Australia, they used to be like I don't know if they still do it anymore if IPB's pulled back on it because of COVID and stuff. But there was your Bendigo Classic, and there was there was a show in Melbourne for a while that was just bikini and girls. Like it was like physique and bikini, and that's what it was. For IPB, they'd get pretty sure they'd get pro card qualification.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the nationals for the overall IPB, every division, sorry, every category gets that pro qualification.
Yeah.
It's just one per category though.
Yeah, so it should be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, the
Like I
quality.
said, yeah, it's interesting. Just there's
been some that there's been
end of-
some like some of the SA where I was like, okay, like yeah, they're obviously peaking for nationals. And when I say peaking, I mean like you still look 4 to 5 to 6 weeks out.
Yeah.
But then there's also some that were ready to fucking go. So I was like, all right, cool. You're seeing the amateurs and the novices really start to separate from the potential contenders, which is what you want. It's what comes from the cream rising. But yeah, like Victoria, I was expecting a lot more people being the home of Aussie bodybuilding. It was a big number. Like from what I heard, it was the largest Vic show ever. But I was expecting fuller crowds. So like super heavies has become a really small category. Like it used to be the big time for Australia, but now with classic opening up and under 100s being a lot more competitive, like the big guys, it's like becoming I don't know, nationals now it really is just like your top 10. So,
yeah.
Like
well, I guess it also takes a lot more time to get to the super heavies and actually look good as a super heavy. Right? Like it's tricky. Like I'm not too probably mad about that more so than I guess the really competitive classes like your classics, your under 100s, your under 90s, very, very competitive. And then obviously in the females, bikini. And even now wellness is becoming very, very busy.
Everyone thinks because they're thick in the off season that they're a wellness competitor or like I've got massive legs. I'll suit wellness. Like,
until they lose all of it, and you're like, that's what we got. Yeah, but that's fine. That's fine.
There's actually some people that do suit wellness, and that's when they're lean. You're just wellness shaped because you're soft.
Yeah, it's like you're in wellness shape off season.
We're all in wellness shape in off season.
100%. You're not.
I'm a super heavyweight in off season.
Yeah, you're not wellness shape in season. Bit of a difference.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess from that, there are a few things we can talk about. From a not to the point to drill anyone, but there is something to be considerate of when we're coming out of a show. Now, if we look at a day, if we look at a show day, if we look at like the peak week, though we're stress reducing, there is an overall accrual of systematic fatigue and stress that has taken place across prep, right? Like if we're looking at really what you've done across fucking 6 months, even a year, like realistically building up to your pre-prep phase, into prep, post show, and that's just for your state show, whatever. The accrual of stress and fatigue you have, just because like, and this is where perception's a big problem, I think, or like the availability of sudden energy. Post show, we're all going to have a free meal or a refeed or a cheat meal, whatever term you want to call it, a high day. You probably haven't tracked your food on show day because your coach is just giving you higher carbs or like some sustainable fats and foods that's just like keep you popped and ready to go. So you're probably still in deficit, to be honest. And you've gone and had like say a post show with the family, you're going to have like a free meal or cheat meal or whatever you want to call it, a refeed, and you're going straight back to the plan. You are, even in that perception of energy and that perception of fullness and pump, you are still in a net negative in terms of anabolism and productive growth environment. In that you're still in a chronic stress position. Cortisol's through the fucking roof. Your body is stiff from a day of posing and fucking rehearsal posing and like tanning and being on your feet all morning and getting stuff done and doing all the different divisions and walking. Seeing this weird thing, I know we've talked about it already before, but like people going into full send mode after the state show or after a state show in their training, and not as in a full send, like I went and had a really good metabolite session or like put the food to use. And
no, they're going like balls to
walls, like 2 to 4 rep, 4 to 6 rep maxes, and it's like You're systematically so in a position
The,
to hurt yourself here.
the funny thing is also, I guess, watching how many people look better post show. So it's
Yeah.
like, and it's obviously from a peaking, or I guess an inefficiency in their peaking protocol. And it's like, well, they've gone and had some food that they want. They're not stressed,
Yeah.
but the food that they're eating has filled them up
Yeah.
perfectly. And they come in, and it's the same with the pros. Like we've seen it
Yeah.
all the
Happens
time.
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and heaps of pros have spoken about it. And it's just funny to actually see it and be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, like you look better a day or two after your show. Like,
Yeah.
where did you fuck this part up?
Yeah.
Like
How
for
can
your
we
show? Because
take that and move it a
yeah,
few
because
days
we
back?
want you to look like that at
Yeah.
show on show day. But yeah, I mean, the training post. I look. I see it in powerlifting a lot too. A lot of powerlifters will go, they'll do their comp day, and if they're not completely and utterly fried, like 3 or 4 days later, they'll then go and try and max out a lift because they're pretty much peaked or primed, you
Yeah.
know, to max out. And they'll, usually it's most guys are usually doing a deadlift or a barbell squat. Oh no, barbell
Yeah.
squat, sorry, bar bench press.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well,
Oh,
like
this.
what's the point?
There we go.
Yeah, it's like, what's the point of going and re-maxing out? Like, yeah, you're peaked, and that's sort of the argument. Like, well, I'm already peaked. I've now
Yeah.
had a few days off, so I've deloaded, and the stress is sort of accumulate. The stress accumulation is now washed off. I feel pretty good. I'm just going to go have some fun, and it's kind of
Yeah.
like, well, you still have the highest risk of injury at that
Yes.
point in time. Like, don't be an idiot. Like, you've had your
Yeah.
chance on the platform, just leave it there. And I guess it's sort of a similar thing. It's like, well, yeah, we know that obviously these are all qualifying shows, and that there is another show to go
Yeah.
in sort of 2 3 weeks time, or 3 weeks time, I guess. Three, four, close to four.
Yeah.
um like we need, well, no, it's not four, it's
You got
three,
three
three
and a
and a
half.
half.
Three and a half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so 3.5 weeks to go. It's like you're not going to grow in three and a
Yeah.
half weeks. If anything, you're probably going to want to try and come in more peeled.
Yeah.
Like I think that's going to be, and that's really, like, yeah, output mediated, but it's really diet mediated too. Like there's only so much you can, put out in terms of
Yeah.
energy via training
Yeah.
versus how much energy you're actually going to put in via food.
Yeah.
So
Food, cardio,
finding,
sleep.
yeah,
Yeah.
finding that balance is probably going to be more up your sleeve and going to be a better tactic versus just going back to the gym 2 days after your show and sending it.
And don't get me wrong too. Like I get the fun side because like I've hated this last probably like 4 weeks of training because like the back off of intensity, the change up of program, not so much change up of programming, but like the exercise selection and like modifications where you're just not full sending it and you want to. But it's also been aware of the fact that the potentiation for injury right now is super high,
Yeah.
and that's just going like let's say I win states. I'm not saying that's going to be the case, but let's say hypothetically I win states. And it's like, all right, I'm going into nationals as a prime potential here. Like eyes are on me. I've got some momentum. I've got like judges' eyes on me. I'm going as a top contender then for like the big dance. Why would I risk that outcome or like from an injury purely because like I had some food and felt good? Like take that food and feel good for sure, but like go do some life stuff or do like a light pump work, get some metabolite training in, some set volume, like just have some
Yeah.
fun, move some food around, feel that pump because it'll be sick, it'll feel good, do some
Yeah.
posing while you're there, see what
100%.
it looks like, take that stress off. But the you got on like you're seeing perceived stress in terms of like, oh, the whole day was stressful and now it's over. I'm not stressed, but we still have systematic and chronic stress of the CNS,
Yeah.
and that's going to do more damage than just having some mental stress. Like, yeah, the mental side's washed off. You've had a good sleep. Maybe you smoked a J. Maybe you had some sex. Whatever. Your libido's working again. Cool. Good for you. But that's not just stress. Like, that's one side of the stress spectrum.
Yeah.
You've also got the accumulated volume of stress from across the prep you haven't washed off yet. That takes weeks of work to come out of prep and be like, all right, that's back down now. I'm in a good actual anabolic window to grow and build muscle and have fun and train hard.
Yeah.
I'm not judging anyone in particular. I've just seen it across several people now where I'm like, if it works for you, great. If you're enjoying it, great. If like that's what your coach told you, great. You're full send and having fun. But I just look at them like, unless it's just purely like with how like broken my body is right now, I couldn't see the logic in doing it. And
Yeah.
I always try to put like the foot on the other shoe and be like, okay, why could they be doing it?
Yeah, well, people
Uh,
will throw out super compensation as a thing and be like, well, as you can, it's the perfect time for super compensation and to really kickstart anabolism. And it's like, well, it's still not, because you're still technically in an overall deficit.
yeah,
And energy demands will always outweigh stupid little tricks that you think you can do
yeah,
to your body, because at the end of the day, you need to be in an energy maintenance or surplus to achieve tissue growth, which you're not going to do inside the window of a state show and a national show. So
Yeah.
your workouts
Sure.
should then be to wash off
Yeah.
stress, get a pump, feel good, get some photos, whatever you
Even,
want.
even, not even so much in the weeks leading up to nationals. Literally after you've had a free meal, like you're not in an anabolic environment where that's like the time to grow. You've gone out like post comp that night, had some like cookies, or you had some pizza, or you had some ice cream, or you had a burger, or maybe you had something more controlled. You had something like that, some steak and chips or chicken, whatever. I don't know, whatever you got. Whatever the total calories are, there's still no way that's gonna be enough to put you in an environment where you're gonna go train that fucking hard and like push growth.
Yeah.
So it's purely got to be a fun factor or considering
Right.
fun.
Yeah.
And sure, it's fun, great.
Yeah.
But is that fun worth the risk of injury? And if
Mm-hmm.
it's not worth the reward of the injury, then why is it worth doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly right. And it's the same thing that happens in powerlifting, man. That's no different seeing idiot people um, do this sort of training, the week after. And it's like I give all my clients literally the week off. I'm like,
Yeah.
do not go to the gym.
Yeah.
Whatever time you allot for the gym, read a book, get a massage, watch TV,
Play some
go get
feed
some
up.
food,
Yeah.
do something. Like keep the time
Yeah.
for yourself because that's great time for you.
Yeah.
Like if you're really desperate, like one of these people that are gym fiends, go
Yeah.
in 3 sets of 15
Yeah.
on machines only, get a pump,
Yeah.
get some mad angles, get a good photos,
Yeah.
upload it on your Instagram, like whatever.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
but no hard strenuous shit
Yeah.
because we need you to recover and get ready for the next block.
Yeah. That's what I push with my guys too, is like that the post show volume phase is not to the degree of like, all right, we're instantly going into an anabolic environment to grow and start jacking up drugs. It's actually to get health back. Like you got, because you're gonna have free meals, you're gonna have food eaten out that week. You've been away from like diet, you've been dieting for so long, away from friends and family. They can't comprehend the delayed gratification of like, all right, let's wait a few weeks to get food back in. It's gonna be instantly, hey, your diet finished here. Let's go straight to pub B or restaurant A or fucking takeaway Z.
Mm.
And so to them, it's like, well, there's like they don't comprehend how it works. So okay, date of show is finished, food can now go in. Let's go do shit. So you're gonna have free meals, you're gonna have stuff or pressures to go eat. Fair enough, but you cap that at metabolite training. You cap that at like volume pump work, where it's just like move the food around, get some fun out of it. The post show photos and pumps you're gonna have are gonna be sick. So get a photographer, get some photo shoots, set some dates, set some like post comp goals so that you at least stay tight or like to a degree of not just blowing out like an asshole.
Yeah.
But yeah, to the point that you're gonna think you're gonna go straight into a growth block. Like for me, everything that I've mapped out in the logical steps is more of a health phase, reintroduce food to make sure digestion's working properly, get blood test checks done to make sure the body's coming back to a normal balanced position, start addressing niggles and things that we've neglected through the prep because you're not worrying about prehab or rehab in a phase of training where you need to be worried about output. So you're addressing concerns of niggles or problems like all right, time to get back to my massage and my physio and see how these things are hurting and what's wrong, correct those so that we're primed and ready to go for the next actual growth block.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where you're going to grow, not in the 8 weeks post show where you've just been like, you see, like 6 months, 12 months of like a diet phasing or like preparing for prep is not going to be washed off with 2 to 4 weeks of food.
No, exactly.
It needs to be longer.
Yeah,
And you should look
100%.
at that from a longer perspective.
Yeah.
The long game here is not, oh, let's just rush this back to go and grow. You're going to be better positioned to grow for the next season, whether it be a year away, 2 years away, with about 8 to 12 weeks of actually taking care of the body, because you just put the body through hell.
Yeah,
you're going to take care of it, give it the respect it deserves,
100%.
back to a prime position. That's why we call it a priming phase.
Yeah,
and then your body's in the environment now to where it's rested, recovered, de-stressed, well fed. Okay, we're still in a decent position. You're about 10% body fat, 12% body fat. Now we fucking jack up the volume and start actually focusing on specificity.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think it's just an interesting one to see people training that hard so close to after show. And I've seen people train day of the show, like afterwards, like they've gone and competed and then gone to the gym and trained that night in their tan and been like, the grind doesn't stop. Well, shut the fuck up, idiot. Like you don't get a badge for that. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
I went back to I think it was like the Sunday we had, because it was only a week between show. So that made sense. But like on the Sunday, I think show was Saturday. Sunday, I was back doing my cardio.
Yeah, and that's a different story. That's not going to the gym the night of and pulling fucking deadlifts or squats or bench press or
whatever.
Whatever. Yeah, like
why?
Yeah, and it's like, don't get me wrong, you may be in a really good spot, food wise, because you've carb
Yeah,
loaded and you're
you're
feeling
pumped.
good. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's like great.
and that's the difference between, like, as I was talking about before, like that mental perception versus that physiological response. Like,
Yeah,
sorry, the physiological environment. Like mentally, you feel good
yeah,
because your friends have all hyped you up. You got the
yeah,
shots, you got the adrenaline. That adrenaline dump is going to back off,
yeah,
and you're going to get hit by a wave of fucking cortisol and a
yeah,
wave of stress and a
yeah.
wave of central nervous system fatigue.
You're just
And
gonna
you're
be
be like,
exhausted.
holy fuck, my
Yeah,
body needs to chill. And
yeah,
you're going to hit that bed and just be like,
yeah. You're being hit
so
by a bus, but
yeah.
anyway.
But yeah, I mean, that's just, and individually, like, again, this is not a dig at anyone, more so just things I've seen. I try to rationalize how they've got there, why they're doing it. I can't do it, but at the same time, maybe someone can tell me. But yeah, I mean, I always try to see, it's not that my perspective is right or that I'm 100% correct. It's just more so from my logic. This is why I'm confused by it. And I don't want to see people who are potentially going to, especially if you come top of the table and you've won and you're in position to be in the judge's eye, risking that injury or like offsetting the work and then like, over fluiding the legs or the arms that you've just worked to bring out and peak, and you're just inflaming them for the next 2 weeks, and then they're gonna look like shit on stage for the nationals. Like, it's not really worth it to me.
Well, exactly right. And it's just you need to weigh up the pros and the cons.
Yeah,
Like which one's going to
there's
be
six
most
to 12 months
beneficial.
of you smashing some weights to come and some food. Like, chill out.
All right, let's do some questions.
I
Eve, people who don't put stuff away, plates, barbells, mats, etc. Well, I mean, there's a special place in hell for those people.
agree.
Yeah, like it's not difficult to put your plates away. I think now it's even more so. It's not even just putting the plates away. It's like wipe down your bench
Yeah.
or wipe down your equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's funny that it took COVID for that to happen, but like I feel like a lot of the gym community would do most, no, I guess maybe not most, maybe like 50% of the gym community were already doing that pre-COVID.
Yep.
And then we've had COVID, obviously have to reinforce it. But just wipe down your equipment. And it's not because you're potentially gonna get COVID, it's because it's just a decent thing to do.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah, like you've just sweated all over everything. So
We
just
we
clean it.
and the thing I hate about this too is like someone like, especially when you come in like in prep or something like that, and you're obviously a bit more blunt and you're hungry and tired, you have time for shit. I think we're about 10 weeks out or 12 weeks out, and we're training at the other facility at World Gym. And there's a young cat and great intensity. Guy goes, trains hard, trains just dumb. Like, we've tried to pull him up a couple times to help out, but doesn't want to pay or whatever. It's not my place. I'm not going to just step in for free. Gave him a few pointers and that, but got off one of the machines, and like, dude's got a mop hair, like fucking a mop of hair. And it was just like literally running sweat down the
Yeah,
machine. And Tom grabbed him and was like, mate, I'm not cleaning that. Can you clean it? We're about to use it. And he's like,
yeah,
oh, sorry, I didn't realize. Like, what do you mean, man? Like, even if you're young and dumb, surely you
yeah.
can look at that. And then we come across like the gym bro dicks who are like, hey, clean your own fucking mess.
No, I feel like that doesn't. I feel like if someone tells someone to clean it, you're not a dick by definition. The person who didn't clean it is the
Yeah,
dick.
100%. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah, yeah. If I walked into the gym, I didn't know you, and you were telling someone, "Can you please clean that equipment?" I'd be like, "That guy who didn't clean it's a dick."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
just young and dumb, but still, it's like, bro, you have to feel that sweat run down your head, let alone what's on the machine. So how are you just walking off from that?
Yeah. Fist bump guy has ceased. The fist bumping scaled back to a nod smile. So thank you. I mean, I'm not sure we did anything there, but we'll claim it. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one where them saying that was going to be a thing. Saying, remember we had that conversation about the whole
Yes.
fist bump, and then we were getting confused. Was it a fist bump or fist pump? And it was like, no, it was fairly sure it was a fist bump. So I feel like you've done your exercise, got up, and the person's like staring at you and
Yeah.
going, "Good set, bro." I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm glad that that person has kind of fucked off a little bit, but at the same time, like I feel like if it's a good intention, when it's a good intention.
Yeah.
Like we know that it's done in a positive manner. If it's done
Mhm.
in a weird manner, then like yeah, that's a bit strange. But I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, even though I don't know them. Could be totally wrong. Could be a complete creep, but that's fine. I mean, I guess we're not dealing with it, so.
That's fair.
Your top 5 bodybuilders of all time.
Oh,
That's a hard one.
bit of a bodybuilding question. I like it.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
Um, yeah, man. Like, yes, you got like, I mean, anyone who's been around for the days, or at least has a longevity interest in the game. Like, there's some modern guys that are bringing a bit more heat to it, which I like, especially having like Fuad make the bro chat, like you're getting a bit more presence. But I mean, you've also got like Arnie that started all, so Arnie has to be in there. Like,
Yeah,
it's just
Arnie's always
no
going to
brainer.
be in there, but I feel like you've got all these different categories as well for
Yeah,
bodybuilding because it's like even from through the ages, obviously the look has developed, but it's
yeah,
like you got Arnie. Arnie's like the benchmark. Like Arnie's
yep,
the man. But he's now more that was bodybuilding then, which is now
yeah.
classic now.
There's more classic physique now. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's kind of like, well, if you go by the look and his classic look, honestly, for me, I still think he looked better than Arnie purely from just an aesthetics point of view was Frank Zane.
yeah, 100%.
He just like don't get me wrong, Arnie's the god. Like,
Yeah,
but in terms of
he
look,
dwarfed him, but in terms of
yeah,
look,
in
like,
terms of
yeah,
look, just that
was,
symmetry,
yeah,
like you
very
know,
nice. Like that's the classic silhouette you want to see in today's stage.
yeah, like I feel like if you were to show someone a picture of bodybuilding, it's either Arnie or Frank Zane.
Yeah,
Like I
that's
feel
fair.
like, yeah, well, not I guess bodybuilding, maybe physique.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Um,
But
like
then
you
yeah,
got you got your mass monsters. You got like Ronnie.
yeah,
I mean, he'll go down as the greatest bodybuilder of all time.
yeah.
There's no
Like
question.
there's just no beating that.
Nah, that 99 or whatever it was look was just
Yeah, it's
just
fucking freaky. It's just ridiculous.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I don't think Rami will beat that ever.
nah, Ratner. Nah.
Rami's pretty. Like he's got a pretty physique. He's just
Yeah,
big.
it it's like in proportion. Like, but at the same time, it's just purely big. Like it
Yeah,
is.
well, he's got such a tight waist for such a big dude.
Yes, that is. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
For anyone else I've seen over 300 pounds doesn't have a waist like that.
Nah, like the only other
That,
person that looks that good proportionally is Samson.
yeah, Samson's going to be
Samson.
phenomenal.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how
I
he
think he's
goes.
coming into that this Olympia very underrated.
Yeah.
If he cuts properly and actually like because I think he's last minute going to try to make it right. Like I think he's trying to last minute make Olympia.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
think
So
like he's got to pull down the next 10 weeks, but he's already at like he's barely 10% of 300 pounds.
yeah,
So like
he
I think
looks
actually
good.
no, he's 330. He got to 330 pounds,
Yeah,
and he's like still got six pack, separated quads, lines everywhere.
yeah,
And it's like, bro, you're pulling down to like 290 and being
yeah.
shredded.
Yeah, he's
Like,
he's gonna be an interesting one, but
but
like
yeah, like in terms of like, I don't know, let's separate it and say like pre 2010s, post 2010s.
okay, I can
I
do
think
that.
you've got to have like Arnie,
Yeah,
you'll have Ronnie
yeah,
because like purely for the excitement and the phenomenon that he was.
yeah.
Um, Lavroni, um, what's his name? Labrada,
Yeah, I was gonna say Lee Labrada was a freak.
Labrada, um, Jay because he challenged obviously Ronnie
Yeah,
and obviously ends up becoming Mr. Olympia. But like overall, I did like Jay's mentality. But then you've got Dorian, like that gives you like your your mass size, you've got proportions to it, you've got titles. Like you could interchange Lavroni and Wheeler.
yeah. See, I
Um,
think I'd have Wheeler over Lavroni.
yeah. So then you also got
Yeah,
like your Chris Cormier, you've got Dennis the Menace and all sort of
yeah,
stuff. You go down that road,
yeah.
but
Well, I mean, they look good, but they just weren't. I feel like they just weren't as good. They
yeah,
were
it's like
they were
you're in
good.
an era of gods where you're trying
Yeah,
to stand out. It's like,
yeah,
what can you do?
yeah,
But post 2010s, man, you got to have you got Phil. Like
yeah.
in
Hundred
terms of
percent.
actual physique, like you've
Yeah,
got Phil.
Phil. Yeah, 100%.
You got Phil. You've got like I really do like Valiers, like Ian Shape. I like Ian
Yeah.
as a bodybuilder. Um, like
I mean, you
I
gotta have
just
Bumstead.
oh yeah, Bumstead is a modern day bodybuilder. Like
you can't, you can't, you
give
can't
or
have.
take without classic physique or not,
Yeah,
but you gotta
yeah,
have Bumstead.
yeah.
Like he's changing the
Yeah,
game.
you can't not have Bumstead in
He's
post
bringing the attention to
2010.
the sport.
Yeah,
Then we've got oh god, who else? Him like Kai for his excitement levels and the battles that he had with Phil.
I mean, you still got Flex Lewis. You still got
Yeah, Flex
like
was
you forget about some of these categories, like the 212s.
yeah,
Like
212. Like
Flex owned it. Like that was his.
Flex
Like
dominated. Like
yeah,
and as a nice guy too. Like he
yeah,
didn't get the praise he deserved, but to be 7-time anything and to be at that level and like the only reason I think he stopped trying for the opens was purely for his health.
yeah,
Um, because he pulled down weight, like he had to pull down hard many times to make the
yeah.
cut. He could have gone opens like what's his name? Sean Calridia
Yeah,
and
Clarita. Well, that was the
and
other one I was going to say. Do you throw like an out ball like Sean Clarita in there because he's been able to beat opens at 180
yeah,
pounds or whatever he is?
it's impressive. Like
Yeah.
especially against guys like um Regan. Like
Mm,
they're not small names. Like they
no.
don't always come in the best, but they're not small names. But yeah, I think like you have to separate because then you start getting into like different decades because it's like just
Well,
such the look changes so much and
yeah.
like
Well, that's what
especially
I'm
now with
saying.
social media, like the
Yeah,
presence of like the big name guys aren't so much big names because they win. They're big names because now they have like the audacity to do social work and they put in the time on YouTube and Instagram and like, yeah, your Regan's got like 1 million followers. Chris Bums has like 1.5 or subscribers. I mean, just subscribers. You got guys like that. Hollins Head is starting to push out more content. All those guys that are actually like they're big names now because they're actually putting effort into their social presence, which I think has never happened before. So yeah, that makes them kind of like popular in this decade. They're not winning popular per se, not at the moment. They could be. But yeah, there's definitely like there's way too many ways you could break and segment that down to give a direct answer.
Yeah, no, look, that's completely fair. Like I said, it's a very tricky question to say like your top five and then like your top five of all time. But it's because there's so many
Then you just have to go with the
categories.
Olympia guys, right? You have to go with like the title holders.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I guess it's subjective, right? It's your top five, not the top five. So it's like,
Yeah.
my top five like has to have Zayn in there just because to me, he was the definition of perfect.
Yeah.
Like, if I go for the look, like that pose that he does on the rocks, like that's
Yeah.
the pose. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Silhouette
That's
that shit.
yeah, like that's synonymous with bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
between that and was it Arnie's bicep globe one, whatever he does, the over like the one arm over the top on a one arm that's
Oh,
further down.
he's on the rotating arc
Yeah,
bridge.
whatever it
Yeah.
is, like
Yeah.
like that, like they're the iconic poses, but they're not
Yeah.
in this day and age considered bodybuilders. Like
Yeah.
in terms of the category, that's more classic. So it's
Yeah. A lot
like,
more
well,
classic. Yeah.
yeah, like anyway,
I agree.
that's it for questions on my end.
Okay. Fuck, marry, kill. Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle.
That's a
So yeah,
funny one.
I'm thinking about this. Like, are we going by the potential of each one? Are we going by the TV show versions?
I feel
Because
like we got a TV show.
yeah, because let's be honest, the only one that Ash takes the time to evolve is Charmander. The
Yeah.
rest of them stay fucking boring as shit. It makes no logical sense as a trainer to have left Bulbasaur and Squirtle in their founding forms
Yeah.
because there's no extra skills that they can learn after a certain point. Like I know some people when you play Pokemon, you can leave your character, you can leave your monster for a little while and it gets a few extra sneaky skills later on.
Yeah.
But there's no reason that he gets Charmander to Charizard to the degree that he learns like all the moves that he does. You'd have to say he's at least like a level 100 to have Bulbasaur and Squirtle sit back and be little bitches. Like it doesn't make sense. So if we're going by the TV show, you got to marry Charizard because
Yeah,
a
you can't.
Charmander. 'Cause you get Charizard
Yeah, well, and you're not going to be able to kill
exactly. Like he's a
Charizard.
beast. Like he's an
Yeah.
absolute weapon. Like there's no brainer. Um, you gotta. Oh, there's nothing that Venusaur provides besides Solar Beam that's really awesome.
Yeah, I marry
So
Squirtle because he's cute.
yeah, and then Squirtle comes with Blastoise. You can use Blastoise for Surf. They can
Well,
fucking
well, now you got fire and water in your pocket, and
yeah, you're
you're
good.
just gonna have to fuck Earth off. Sorry, hippies.
Yeah, Bulbasaur. Sorry, buddy, you shit.
All the hippies. See you later.
Yeah. Um. Oh, okay. Testy shrinkage as recomp progresses. Natty status. Is it age or hormones? Mm,
Testes shrinking as you get older. Well, I mean, you produce less testosterone as you get older, but that's not necessarily a byproduct of the testes shrinking. Usually,
yeah.
from what I remember, they don't actually shrink
Yeah, I didn't think.
as you get older. I'd have to check that, so don't obviously hold me to that, but because they're still producing sperm, so
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah,
real.
the shutdown comes from an exogenous introduction where it's basically telling the production plant to say, hey, we don't need you anymore.
Yeah, we've already got enough
Yeah. We're
going around our system.
downsizing staff here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Shrinking the facility.
You've been made redundant.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna say like there's a hormone issue.
Yeah, I'd be probably getting it checked.
Yeah. Go to the docs and check out the little bumps.
That's it.
Oh Jesus Christ. Drink 10 liters of drink 10 liters of jizz a year
Yes.
or take 10 meters in the bum a year.
Well,
Is that going to be in total or
I was going to
hit?
say, is this in one hit? Or
Yeah,
like,
is it a
are we
total
able
thing?
to divvy this up
Gonna
over
space
the
it out
year?
and just can I mix it in with like orange juice or something and just not
Yeah,
oh,
shit.
oh, oh,
Yeah.
fuck
Like
me.
if like does it take a centimeter in the butt each day until it's 10 meters?
Yeah,
Actually, no, that doesn't work. You'd have to be like
I don't want to answer any of
10,
these.
10 centimeters per no. Try I have to work out the math.
There's a lot. It's too much.
I mean, yeah, I don't know about that one. That's a tricky one. Probably. 10 liters of jizz, was it?
Yeah,
Oh, that's a lot.
that is a lot.
Is it human?
Like,
Is it animal?
nah, it's just we gotta say it's human.
Look, I'm probably gonna go the jizz. Let's be real.
Yeah, I just can't see me taking that in the ass over a year.
I was thinking, how many centimeters can we break that down
Yeah.
to? Like
Jeez.
10 meters. Should we do the math?
Well, if you did 10 centimeters a day,
You could do 20.
that's 30 meters, right?
Yeah, you could do. So you could do probably 27 centimeters a day.
So no for me,
Yeah,
dog.
yeah. Nah, we'll go with the jizz, mate.
Okay. Actual fun question. Diuretic safety, underrated risk or overrated fear?
Mm. Both.
Yeah, I think method of application and reasoning behind.
Yeah, it's interesting. Diuretics in amateur use are not needed
Mhm.
at all. I'm very, very adamant on that. I am very fortunate that my coach is probably one of the better coaches when it comes to conditioning in the actual fucking world, and
Mhm.
I actually speak to him about this quite a bit.
Mhm.
Um, and he doesn't use diuretics with 98% of his clientele, and he's got pros coming out of his butthole.
Mhm.
He is able to affect diuresis through
Mhm.
nutritional interventions quite well.
Mhm.
Um, that and the overarching principle is if you're diced, and we're talking diced,
Mhm.
you do not need a diuretic. Most of the
Yeah.
time, people will use a diuretic because they think they're holding water when they're just
Yeah.
fat.
Still fat. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the look is even worse.
Yeah. I'll drive in diuretics in peak week because that'll take off an extra 10% of body fat. Like, bro,
Yeah,
taking off body fat.
and then it comes to the actual type of diuretic because we have like proton sparing and we have potassium sparing, sorry, and all these different types of diuretics that have
Mhm.
all these different effects
Yeah.
downstream. So that's where the safety side and the protocol of safety
Mhm.
comes into play because you need to understand what diuretic you're using for what purpose.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
easiest
especially
way to,
especially coming to like a peak week where things like interrupting or changing the ratio of potassium to sodium in your body? Are you having like how much sodium are you using to have like if you don't use a potassium sparing diuretic and you just end up flushing out and fucking up your system, like your neural contraction is gonna be like shit, your whole nervous system's gonna be shit. We still like we have our sodium, ion, and potassium channels. We
yeah,
need to make sure they're in balance. That's why they're electrolytes, not just for hydration.
exactly
There's a
right.
balanced need of electrolytes to consider that if you're just smashing a diuretic that's non-looped
Yeah,
potassium sparing and you wash out the ratio and you smash
yeah,
yourself with carb,
yeah,
sodium,
yeah, and
you're
you
going
end
to
up,
fuck yourself.
and then you end up looking like shit.
Yeah, you end up with a washed out look anyway
Mm-hmm.
because you can't contract, you can't
you
fill up, and
just
you
you
aren't
just
holding
look
fullness.
soft and
Yeah,
flat. It's like a
and the,
horrible look.
and it's a mixture of then just feeling completely dehydrated and completely mentally fucked and
But
fried, which is
yeah,
just smashing the body from what it needs.
but then you'll know
And
2 days later you'll look phenomenal
yeah,
because you'll eat all the food and get into the
yeah,
gym and do a pump
yeah,
session. You're like,
potassium's
oh, I
back
look
in,
great.
sodium's
Yeah,
back
like
in.
who would have thought?
Yeah,
Maybe that's the way to go. We'll give you a diuretic 3 days out,
3 days
so that
out.
on
Yeah,
so that on show day you're ready to go.
use peak week as if Wednesday show day, so that by Saturday it's all perfect.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, worst drug combinations you have ever seen or used.
Oh, what? Oh, it's a big one. Um, Trend, I'm not a fan of anymore. Used to be, not anymore. I've seen the neurodegradation it has. It's not worth it.
Mhm.
What we know from AAS drugs, so anabolic and androgenic steroids. That's what
Mhm.
I'm assuming that's what the question's about.
Mhm.
They all create protein at a similar rate,
Mhm.
at a similar dose. Yeah, I don't want to say that, but close enough. Just making it as simple as possible.
Mhm.
Um, that said, usually when you're designing a drug stack or an AAS stack, you're not just looking at its effects, you're looking at its side effects.
Mhm.
Trends side effects versus its effects do not appeal to me in the slightest. I do not see a warrant for it. The only case I could see trend be used for is at a small dose
Mhm.
to decrease muscle breakdown,
Wastage. Yeah.
especially yeah, in a deficit and especially in a harsh deficit.
Yeah.
You do not need much. We're looking at 50 to 100 milligrams
Mhm.
max,
Mhm.
from what I've seen to affect that. Basically, you could then run quite a harsh deficit,
Yeah.
and still retain
Scary
the
part,
majority
even like
of
scary,
tissue.
scary part I've seen even hearing that conversation. Like I know we spoke about that many times before, and it's same strategies that I align with, is I know for a fact I've seen protocols whereby trend is the basis of the stack at grams
Yeah, yeah.
per
Don't
unit.
get me wrong. I openly admit I've used Tren at I think 400, maybe even 500 milligrams for a period of time.
Mhm.
And don't get me wrong, I had mad strength gains. I looked great. Like I felt like an absolute a boss.
Mhm.
But at the same time, at what cost? And at
Yeah,
what cost later down the track is that going to
yeah,
happen? So
yeah,
that's where I'm usually the down, the iffy one. The other one is I don't like drugs that haven't had really human trials.
yeah,
Like Boldenon and stuff like that don't have any
yeah,
human trials. Debo,
yeah.
I don't like. Um, don't get me wrong, it's not like it doesn't have its place every now and then.
Hmm.
You can get away with using them. There are periods of time that you can use them. I just don't see a case for them if you're able to then get other things or use other compounds.
Yeah.
My favorite will always be a testosterone family drug. So testosterone will always be a DHT, masteron,
Hmm.
primobolan, potentially a 19 nor, whether that be DECA or NPP at very, very, very minuscule amounts,
Hmm.
and then using more anabolic agents like insulin.
Hmm.
Insulin's good. If you can get growth hormone's
Hmm.
cool. Again,
Hmm.
very hard to get. I know it's
Hmm.
expensive as fuck. Um, these are the pathways I prefer, and then using things like an ARB blocker, um, so telmarcetan,
Hmm.
using metformin, and you can
Hmm.
then use, things like clenbuterol in cuts. You can use all these different things. Um, yeah, I'm just not a fan of Tren and Debo,
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Like, it's obviously
even though
it's
I've used them and I've quite enjoyed them.
yes, agreed. Obviously, like any use is risk inversive. Like it's just going to have that effect. But when simplicity is key or simple is best, like that this is the time where simple is best. People keep coming up with like random stack designs or make up their own fucking like layouts, like adding 45 different compounds to get to a condition where it's like, but which one of those did you even need? How many of those could you have cut out, save money, save time, save health, and reduced all the risk factors? Like it's already going to have risk as it is. Why not modify that by being smarter? You don't
Yeah,
just need to just throw shit in and just see what sticks to the kitchen sink. It's literally like the data's there. There's at least some data there to make reasonable choices and make sense of things, um, and make the smart drives where you need to. Like sadly, a lot of the time I see guys wanting to use it and they haven't created the anabolic environment outside of sup use anyway. So,
yeah,
the sleep isn't good, the food isn't good, the protein isn't high, training intensity isn't there. Like you're not breaking down muscle tissue enough at a rate that you're actually going to need that sup to help grow. Like, yeah, it's going to work, but it's like you're missing so much. You're leaving so much out of the car. Like it's like you've got a Ferrari, you just stripped it and been like, you've just got a shell, but you're
yeah,
like, oh yeah, I've got a Ferrari. It's like, nah, man, you've taken everything out that makes a Ferrari. Like
yeah, hundred
you
percent.
could be 100% better at this before you turn to that, but you've like turned straight to that and been like, oh, I'm not growing, or it's not working, or I need to have more. It's not need any more. You need to
Yeah,
be
well,
fucking honing on sleep, honing on food, honing on insulin, honing on things that actually will benefit you without health
the
risks.
easiest thing about this is if you don't know, contact someone who does.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Just fucking
So that,
do a consult, have a chat,
yeah.
get some info on it.
Even,
Plenty of
even if you
people to
got
listen to.
if you have a coach, and it's not saying to question your coach or doubt them, but if you have a coach and things that like don't make sense, and you get the whole like, trust me,
No, no.
reach out and
Yeah.
see how it stacks up. Why is those being things being used?
Yeah.
Why are you stacking that way?
Honestly, you want to listen to anything about this stuff, go get on your podcast app, whichever podcast app you have, go type in Joe Jeffrey and listen to any podcast
Mm-hmm.
Joe Jeffrey's done. You can also do the same, listen to any podcast with Victor Black. You can also
Mm-hmm.
listen to any podcast with Broderick Chavez, which I'm bringing down to Melbourne. We've got over 20 people come at me. I'm beating every other state because I'm the best, just how it is.
The fucking dates do not align with me.
Fuck
It's
you,
fucking
Queensland. We
bullshit.
beat you because we're better than you. Will
Yeah,
Crozier,
well,
suck it up.
they've fucking they've picked a date where it's like literally like 3 days before nationals. I'm like, bruh,
Yeah, I know. It's
I'm not gonna be able to
unfortunate.
sit there and take in this genius's mind and ask questions and be engaged. And I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah, no, I know. But yeah,
I've got his book though, so that's the main thing.
that's true. But yeah, I'll be hosting him down here, which will be sick. It's all confirmed. Can't wait. But I believe that is it from us, ladies and gentlemen. I
That's
do
it.
have to get off because I have a consult in a minute, so this
Yeah.
should be fun. As always, if you need anything, DM one of us. Probably me at the moment because Ben's dying. But
That's fair.
if you have any
In
questions,
future,
throw them up on the question box on a Wednesday morning.
if you do have any
Please.
inquiries, like start forwarding inquiries and stuff. If you've been sort of lingering for prep to be over, we're starting to really lock in numbers now for post show and take care of that. Obviously, it's a post show thing to deal with, but I want to get in service, obviously, who's been waiting or messaged as soon as possible. So yeah,
Exactly. That is it from us, boys
that's
and
it.
girls. Need us, let us know. Otherwise, be good and goodbye.